Most men think women are attracted to looks first, but that's not true. There's a silent moment when a woman starts pulling away emotionally, and most men never even realize it's happening. She still replies. She still smiles. She still acts normal. But inside her mind, something changed. And the scary part? It usually has nothing to do with your money, your height, or your appearance. It's your personality. Because women notice things men never think about. Tiny behaviors, subtle emotional patterns, the way you react under pressure, the way you speak when nobody's trying to impress anyone. And tonight, I'm going to tell you the personality traits women secretly analyze every single time they talk to a man. Some of these might surprise you. Some might expose why certain relationships quietly fall apart. And one of the final points is something women almost never admit out loud. So if you think attraction is only about confidence or good looks, stay with me. Because what happens next is something most men completely miss. The first thing women notice about your personality is how you handle silence. Most men don't realize this, but silence reveals more about a man than conversation ever will. A lot of guys panic during quiet moments. They rush to fill the air with random jokes, over-explaining, or nervous talking. And at first, a woman might laugh politely, but internally, she notices the discomfort immediately, because calm silence feels emotionally strong. Think about it. Imagine sitting with someone who doesn't need constant validation. Someone relaxed enough to simply exist in the moment without forcing energy. That creates emotional safety. But here's what actually happens with insecure men. The silence starts feeling like rejection. So they talk faster. They seek reassurance. They try too hard to keep attention alive. And this is where everything changes. Women don't just hear your words. They feel your emotional state underneath them. And once she senses emotional neediness, attraction quietly starts fading. But that's only the beginning. Because the next thing women notice is even more dangerous. Women notice how you react when things don't go your way. Not when life is easy. Not when you're winning, but when something annoys you. Maybe the waiter gets your order wrong. Maybe traffic ruins your mood. Maybe she disagrees with you. Most men think women are observing the surface reaction. They're not. They're imagining their future with you because every emotional reaction becomes a preview. If you become rude, impatient, explosive, or cold over small frustrations, she immediately wonders what you'd become during serious problems. And what happens next is something most men miss. A woman may stop arguing completely, not because she agrees, but because she emotionally stopped feeling safe. That's why emotional control is deeply attractive. Not fake calmness, real emotional stability. A man who can stay grounded under pressure feels rare, and women notice that instantly. But there's another personality trait women secretly study, and almost nobody talks about it. Women notice how you treat people who cannot benefit you. This one exposes character faster than almost anything else. How you talk to waiters, how you respond to strangers, how you treat someone beneath your social status. Most men don't realize this, but kindness without an audience is incredibly attractive. Because women are constantly asking themselves one silent question. Is this who he truly is, or is he performing? A man who acts charming only when trying to impress someone feels temporary, artificial, but genuine warmth? That feels trustworthy. And trust creates emotional attraction far deeper than flirting ever could. But here's where many men fail. They think dominance means acting emotionally detached or superior. So they become dismissive, sarcastic, cold. And for a moment, it might look confident. But over time, it feels emotionally exhausting because real confidence never needs to humiliate people. And the next personality trait women notice proves that perfectly. Women notice whether your confidence is real or fragile. There's a massive difference. Fragile confidence gets defensive easily. Real confidence stays calm. A fragile man constantly needs to win conversations. He can't handle correction. He takes jokes personally. He feels threatened by strong people around him. But here's what actually happens in a woman's mind. The moment she senses insecurity hiding behind ego, attraction starts cracking because emotional security feels masculine. And this is where everything changes. Women don't need perfection. They need emotional steadiness. A man secure with himself creates peace. A man at war with himself creates tension everywhere he goes. And tension eventually becomes emotional distance. But wait until you hear the next one, because this is something women notice within minutes. Women notice your relationship with attention. Most men chase attention without realizing it. They interrupt people. They dominate conversations. They constantly redirect focus back to themselves. And at first, some women may find it entertaining. But over time, it reveals emotional hunger. A man addicted to validation feels emotionally unstable. Meanwhile, the man who listens carefully, who speaks with intention instead of desperation, who doesn't need to prove himself every second, that man becomes unforgettable. Because attention is power, and a man who controls his need for attention feels emotionally rare. But here's the part nobody tells men. Women often become more curious about the man who reveals less. Mystery isn't silence. Mystery is emotional self-control. And what happens next is something most men completely misunderstand. Women notice whether you make them feel judged. This one destroys attraction quietly. A woman might laugh with you, flirt with you, spend time with you. But if she constantly feels criticized around you, she slowly, emotionally disconnects. Sometimes men do this without realizing it, correcting everything she says, making subtle insults disguised as jokes, always trying to teach instead of understand. Most men think they're leading. But here's what actually happens. She starts feeling emotionally small around you. And no woman wants to feel emotionally unsafe with a man she's attracted to. That's why emotionally intelligent men stand out so much. They know how to challenge without humiliating, lead without controlling, speak without attacking. And this is where everything changes. Because attraction grows strongest where emotional safety exists. Now, before we continue, I want you to think honestly for a second. Which of these traits do you think most men struggle with the most? Emotional control? Validation seeking? Fragile confidence? Comment it below. Because the next points become even deeper, and one of them explains why some men instantly feel unforgettable to women. Women notice whether your energy changes around attractive people. This one is huge. Most men completely transform around beautiful women. Their voice changes. Their posture changes. Their personality changes. Suddenly they become overly agreeable, overly careful, overly available, and women notice it immediately because authenticity disappears. Most men don't realize this, but women feel more attracted to men who remain emotionally consistent. Not arrogant, not cold, consistent. A man who stays grounded regardless of who he's talking to feels emotionally powerful. Why? Because it signals self-worth. He's not trying to earn value from attention. He already values himself, and that emotional stability becomes magnetic. But here's where everything changes. Women also notice the opposite. The man who acts confident with everyone, except the woman he truly wants. That nervous energy reveals fear of rejection, and fear changes behavior in ways men rarely notice themselves. But the next personality trait might be the most underrated of all. Women notice how present you are, not physically, emotionally. A man can sit right beside you while mentally being somewhere else entirely, checking notifications, half listening, waiting for his turn to speak. And over time, it creates emotional emptiness because presence is attention. And attention is one of the purest forms of emotional value. Most men don't realize this. But when a woman feels deeply heard, she remembers it for a very long time. Especially today, because genuine attention has become rare. And what happens next is something most men completely miss. Women often associate emotional presence with emotional maturity. A distracted man feels emotionally unavailable. A present man feels safe to connect with. An emotional connection always deepens attraction. But now we're entering the final 2 points. These are the ones women almost never say out loud. And the next one silently destroys attraction faster than men realize. Women notice whether you truly like yourself, not your image, not your social media persona. You, because self-hatred leaks into relationships in subtle ways. Jealousy, overthinking, control, neediness, constant reassurance seeking. Most men think women lose attraction randomly. But here's what actually happens. Eventually, she becomes emotionally exhausted carrying a man who refuses to emotionally stand on his own. And this is where everything changes. A man who respects himself moves differently. He doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't panic over small changes. He doesn't collapse emotionally every time life becomes uncertain. And women notice that strength immediately, not because it's alpha, but because emotional stability creates peace. And peace is deeply attractive. Now here's the final point, the one most men never expect. Women notice how other people feel around you. Read that again carefully, because this changes everything. A woman watches your energy through other people's reactions. Do people relax around you? Do they trust you? Do they enjoy your presence naturally? Or does the room feel tense when you enter? Most men focus entirely on impressing women directly. But women are observing the emotional atmosphere around you because personality is contagious. And here's the truth nobody says enough. A man's energy becomes his reputation long before his words do. That's why some men walk into a room and instantly feel attractive without trying. It's not magic, it's emotional presence, emotional control, emotional consistency. And women notice all of it, even when they never say a word. So if you learned anything from this video, let it be this. Women are not only attracted to what you say, they're attracted to how you make them feel emotionally. And most men spend years improving their appearance while ignoring the personality traits women notice first. But now you know, and once you understand this psychology, you start seeing attraction completely differently. Because the strongest attraction is rarely loud, it's emotional, it's subtle, and it's built in moments most men never even notice. If this video opened your eyes even a little, subscribe. Because there are still things women notice about men that almost nobody talks about. And the next video might completely change the way you see relationships forever.